How's it going, guys? I'm here with your Raw review, and we still did not get Edge on this show. We got Beth Phoenix. We're gonna be talking about that in a little bit. It's the last segment. But let's start from the top. We've got Paul Heyman cutting a promo. The same old thing. I'm not gonna spend time on that. But we get Drew McIntyre coming out. I don't know why he didn't come out last week. He was just content with staying in the back and cutting a terrible promo where he basically blamed himself, for creative completely screwing up his career. Here he obliterates Brock, just destroys him, kills him with 3 claymores, and Brock is looking like a goof here. First of all, you would think Brock is so experienced, he's going to run towards Drew, get kicked in the face, then he's going to be up on the stage, and he's looking at the crowd all confused, and then Drew comes out again and kicks him from behind. Like, why is Brock not on a mad tear? He should have got up from the mat once he regained consciousness, and he should have just tore into Drew. But instead, what are we getting? We're getting a confused Brock. Oh, what happened? And then he gets hit. He gets hit 2 more times. Why is Brock looking so weak here? Like, why is it they can never find a balance? It's like last week I said, why didn't they touch at all? This week they touch, and you just have Drew destroying him. This would have been the perfect opportunity to have one of those pull apart brawls or something. Like, it's okay to have maybe Drew get the upper hand here, since last time Brock got the upper hand. But why is Drew just completely laying out Brock? And it's not even the point. Like, Brock is looking dumb here. And this is not the first time we're going to see a superstar looking stupid on this show. So that's kind of why this was a little bit annoying to see. Then we have the Street Profits defeating Seth Rollins and Moifi for the tag titles. Are you kidding me? Like, these guys, first of all, they lose emphatically in Saudi Arabia. Okay, maybe they consider not too many people watch that show, so they're putting it here again on Raw for all to see. And this time we just have tons more interference. The referee is looking like a total goof. He's throwing out AOP, but in the meantime, Kevin Owens is coming in there with the stunner. There's basically just total chaos going on behind the ref's back. 1,000 different things are going on. And, do not tell me that that's going to be their big Mania match, is going to be Rollins versus Owens. A match that we've literally gotten 1,000 times. A match that hasn't been over in the past and won't be on the Mania card. Especially after you think about last year. Like, this is the problem I have here. Seth Rollins and Murphy are now, you could pretty much say they're an established team. This is a team that, that is comprised of one of the members, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has beaten Brock Lesnar, the guy you saw in the first segment, in 5 minutes. Are you telling me that he cannot somehow, some way beat these 2 rookie upstarts with Buddy Murphy at his side? Moifi at his side? Okay, so you could say maybe the Street Profits work together as a team, but they have not even done well enough to establish Rollins and Moifi as a great team to begin with. So when they lose the titles, it's like I'm shrugging my shoulders. And these 2 guys, they were doing SNL skits. I'm not impressed. I'm walking away from this just saying, what a waste of time. We got a tag title switch. You don't care about either of these teams. No one cares about the Owens-Rollins feud that's, going to lead up to the WrestleMania match. That has to be one of the least anticipated matches at Mania this year, if that's what they're going to go with. And I guess logically, that's probably what they would have to go with based on how things are playing out on TV. But the Street Profits, this has to be the least over team that I could ever see. Like, first of all, their catchphrase is not over. I look at these guys and I'm just like, okay, you know, maybe you could say Montez Ford's got charisma. But we've already proved that these guys are not over on the main roster. And they're definitely not over to be winning tag titles. I guess maybe that's their logic. Give them the tag titles and they'll be over. How many times have we tried that with teams and singles wrestlers and it just doesn't work? If your character's not over, then the belt is really not going to help you get over. It's a prop. You know, you're not going to just give this belt and people are going to immediately care about the Street Profits. There's no reason to care about these guys. I don't really understand what they're doing here. Why Montez Ford last week was bringing Seth Rollins to the absolute brink of, you know, he almost loses the match practically. Montez Ford is hitting all these big high spots on him, scoring all these near falls, showing us that he could probably beat Rollins. I don't get it. Like, honestly, like, you can't just have this guy Rollins fall so far in such a short amount of time. They do this with literally everybody. You can't just have a guy at the top of the world beating Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes, and all of a sudden he's a tag team wrestler and he's having trouble with a rookie team. Then you've got Riddick Moss defeating Ricochet for the 24/7 title. First of all, wasn't this belt supposed to be like a knockoff of the hardcore title? But this is just a basic match. And Riddick Moss, you know, I get it. Okay, maybe they want to give this guy a big win, you know, over Ricochet to establish him. But once again, do you realize that you just had Ricochet in a world title match in, like, this, right? Saudi Arabia to you is more important than WrestleMania. So you're going to bring Ricochet out here to have a match with Riddick Moss and just beat him clean. Now, I don't care because I don't care for Ricochet. I don't like the guy personally. Y'all know that. But you can't just have this guy beat Seth Rollins, again with Seth Rollins, and Bobby Lashley. These two guys, even Seth Rollins towers over Ricochet. And then, you know, have him beat these guys, and then also pin Lashley in the process. Okay, he got obliterated by Lesnar. I get it, you know, but to have him also lose to Riddick Moss, but you know, really believably, if we're going by believability standards here, I believe that Riddick Moss could beat Ricochet because he's physically more impressive. He's a bigger guy, and Ricochet doesn't look like anything to me. I don't really have a problem with this, like, you know, Riddick going over Ricochet, but you can't do this, like, and now I'm reading that Vince McMahon has given up on Ricochet. Why did he have any hope in the guy to begin with? He's always been a spot monkey who couldn't talk. He's been on the indies forever. You know, didn't he see this in NXT? Didn't he see this, you know, before he had the match with Brock Lesnar? Why did they put him on the spot to have the match with Lesnar? I don't get it. So he could build Ricochet up just to have him obliterated in Saudi Arabia, just to have him get destroyed, have him get killed by Lesnar? Okay, like, seriously, we're wasting so much time. If Ricochet wasn't your guy, why are we wasting time building this guy? Oh yeah, that's right, I forgot. We don't even want to build stars. So what exactly are we doing here in this company? Are we just gonna have random matches until the end of time? One guy gets a chance, then another guy gets a chance, but then Ricochet falls. Like, this guy was just wrestling for the world title, and now he's wrestling for the 24/7 championship, the comedy title? Okay, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to recondition this title as something else with Riddick Moss being the title holder, but I don't see it. You know, it's a 24/7 championship, and we're just in here doing some basic stuff. You know, I get it. You know, it's not like it was a horribly worked match or anything, But this is supposed to be like a special championship with different stipulations. Isn't supposed to be no disqualification, weapons. It could be, defended anywhere at any time. This is like a magical title. Like it gets turned off during tag matches and all this nonsense. I don't know. Like I say, I'm not really going to miss Ricochet getting a push here. But this just looks ridiculous to have, guys going up and down at different levels of worth every 2 seconds. This is why no one bothers to watch. You can't get invested in any character. Now, Ricochet didn't have a character to begin with, but you're telling us that Ricochet is, world championship material. So, not only is that a stretch, but then you wasted our time by having the match, have him get destroyed by Lesnar, which was believable. But why did we even have to get to that point? So you see, it's just wasting a lot of time here. Also, what isn't there like resolved issues with Riddick Moss and Mojo Rawley? Where was Mojo here? Not like I'm really stimulated by that storyline, but I'm just saying that any continuity, a reason for this match. Did Ricochet do something to Riddick Moss? And how is Ricochet just instantly being given a match for the 24/7 championship? He doesn't want the US belt or anything. He just, I'm good with the 24/7 championship. I had a taste of the world title contention, and I'm just good fighting for this belt. Okay. Then Alistair Black is made a fool out of. Apparently there's contracts now for all matches on Raw. He signed a contract, not for a title or not for any special type of, stipulation or anything like that. He just has to sign a contract to have a match with AJ on Raw. Really interesting. So I guess, matches don't get booked anymore. They get signed with contracts now magically. We're changing the rules on the fly. I get it, wrestling, but Alistair Black, you've got him out there speaking all methodically and, in riddles and all this. And, I guess we're supposed to think that he's a pretty deep guy, but he can't even read a damn contract. Again, with the stupidity. First it's Brock Lesnar, getting beat up from behind by Drew McIntyre. And this is supposed to be a veteran. A guy that literally has, been in the WWE system. He went to UFC and everything, but he's been involved in combat sports and physical wrestling and stuff for 2 decades now. So you would think he would know not to turn his back. Then we've got Alistair Black, who apparently he's illiterate. The guy can't read. I get it, maybe it was supposed to be he wanted to beat AJ up so bad, he just signed it and he didn't look at it. But then again, you have to think about it, contracts are not signed for matches, so he probably would want to read that contract to get to AJ. What is this stupidity? So then he has to run the gauntlet. He has to have a match with Carl Anderson. He has to have a match with Luke Gallows. And then he eventually gets the match with AJ. And AJ pins him by crossing his arms on his chest after a phenomenal forearm. Before the match, AJ said he's on a collision course with The Undertaker. I don't know how these matches magically get booked. No one was challenged or anything. There was just a little something. You had Undertaker pinning him at the end of that gauntlet match for the trophy, as he mentioned. But, I don't get it. This just suddenly means they're wrestling at Mania. That's it. There's a match booked. Taker didn't challenge him. AJ didn't challenge him. He just says he's on the collision course. They play a clip of Mark Wahlberg. Wahlberg cuts a little promo about, how AJ should just, forget about Taker. He should just try to get out of this and forget about it. AJ says that, he's going to be facing Taker. He's going to go, into it. I just don't know. They always do this around Mania time. I'm sure Taker would be willing to do build, but they don't want to have him there. It was kind of like with Cena. He just shows up. That's how they build. It was the same thing with Bray Wyatt. He doesn't even show up. It's just okay, he'll be there at Mania. And I get it, that builds suspense and everything. But how about like a genuine story here? Like, there's no story here. It's just like AJ's like, I want to face a legend. Taker's like, okay, so he shows up, and that's it. There's no story or anything. Why don't we have AJ saying that, you know, he wants to be a legend, he wants to be immortalized, you know, like, I don't know, there's just not the right verbiage here. It just feels very random. It's like, it's pretty much like you should just have AJ say, well, I don't have a feud with anybody, so I need a match at Mania. Like, that's pretty much what we're getting here. And we realized that we really effed up bad last year by not having Taker there. So, you know, here's Taker this year. I gotta say, though, they're doing a lot better job with this, with the matches. They might not be building them well. They're building them terribly. But this is a pretty decent card from what I'm seeing. Goldberg and Reigns, The Fiend and John Cena. Like, we're guaranteed to actually have some good matches with some believable stars. Compare this to Rollins and Lesnar in a 5-minute squash with Rollins doing the squashing, and then Daniel Bryan and Kofi Kingston. You know, last year you didn't even have Cena wrestling. There was no Taker wrestling. So we're already getting a better card. And you kind of already know that even based on the spectacle, you know, even if Reigns and Goldberg doesn't turn out to be a great match, you know, we still have the spectacle of it all. You know, going into the match, knowing you're going to see at the entrances, there's going to be tension. See, that's what it is. Because a lot of times, even if there's terrible build, at least these guys look the part. They're going into it. There's going to be excitement based on that. But they're doing a terrible job building up to it, as they always do. But this is not surprising. I just think with a star of the caliber of AJ, you know, and Taker, like, obviously this is not the most believable match, but it will be interesting to see how they're going to work together. That's what I'm interested to see. Like, you know, AJ works a pretty fast-paced style, but he's a lot safer than a lot of the other indie knuckleheads. So I'm guessing that he's probably going to, you know, slow it down with Taker, work a more technical match. It should be interesting to see. Liv Morgan defeated Ruby Riott with a special guest referee being Sarah Logan. I don't get it. Like, with Sarah Logan, they're making her look super plain. Like, okay, I get it. The face paint was random. It was silly. She's supposed to be a Viking. Now, you know, she takes all that off. She's not even wearing any makeup at all. I don't get it. You know, they're just making her look as plain as possible, as drab as possible, a plain Jane. She does the fast count when Ruby Riott accidentally hits her. And I love this, like, great acting. You hit me, you hit me. You know, it's just painful seeing some of these girls out there with the terrible acting jobs that they do. I mean, just give me a break already. And what is this? Like, we had like a, you know, a referee, a crooked referee last week, that disaster with Seth Rollins. Now we're getting another, like, you know, special guest. Like, first of all, there's no build here. They don't want to tell a story. Okay, they were there in the contract signing. We know that they have a past as the Riott Squad, a group that no one really cared about. They weren't really over. They did have some fans. Okay, but, you know, you're just randomly throwing them all here into a match, and then after that, Sarah Logan kicks Liv in the face, and they're all going into the chambers, so it all makes sense. Like, what is this storytelling? There's nothing. You know, I guess these girls, you know, they've proved that they really can't talk and really tell a story on the mic, so they're just keeping everybody quiet here, and they're just saying, like, okay, well, you know what, you guys are all in a faction, we're just gonna, you know, put you all into this segment, and it just ends up falling flat. And like, why is it that they keep thinking that this, either, like I said, I believe that they just totally do not care. They just don't, they don't give a damn. That's why they keep doing this stuff, because there's no way that they could think that this is going to work. You just can't throw something out there at total random, Don't even build up to it. No story at all. No reason why Liv would even want to be a special guest referee. There's not like there's massive tension here between all three parties. You know, and also, what happened to Liv Morgan and Lana? Like, we're just past that already. You know, we're gone. You know, we're not even gonna focus on that. Backstage. Okay, so guys, remember I was joking? I'm like, they don't even know what's in Rowans Cage, right? Rowan's been carrying around this cage. He's been squashing jobbers. He's in the match with Alistair Black, you know, and they just kind of, you know, they job him out to Alistair. You know, okay, I get it. It was two guys that, you know, had been undefeated for many weeks, many months. So we're gonna put these two guys together. So, you know, you're not going to know who's gonna win it. I kind of figured it'd be Black because they seem just a bit more invested in that guy. And since they cater to the smarks, like, I like Black. I like, you know, Alistair's look and everything like that. But, you know, the smarks like him, so that's who they're going to go with. So Rowan is backstage. He's looking at his cage, and No Way Jose, of all people, like, this guy just shows up whenever they need, like, a stooge or something, someone to just play a random part. You know, they just throw No Way Jose on there. And, like, I'm looking at No Way Jose, and this guy, you know, standing next to Rowan, who's like, what is he, 6'9", 6'8"? He's not too much smaller, you know, and I'm like, I'm looking at this, and I'm saying, you know, like, why is this guy not more? Why don't they have this guy do something more than, like, he's been in the conga line thing for, like, what has it been, like 3 years? How long's he been doing this stuff for? And it's obviously not going anywhere. It's not over. No one cares. Like, I see he's wearing, like, a new t-shirt. Is anyone buying that t-shirt? Probably not. That's what I would think. But he's backstage with Rowan, and he asked me, hey, you think maybe we could see it? You know, yeah, please. And he's like asking him please and all this. I think he said please, but Rowan is like, you know what, I'm gonna show you what's in the cage since you asked nicely. So he reaches into the cage. You know, and what I thought at first, I was like, you know what, I think they're probably gonna do something lame, like it's gonna be a puppy or something like that, you know, like, oh, Swerve, the total opposite of what you thought. You know, I knew they were going to do something. I thought they were going to do something like that. But instead, you know what he takes out of the cage? Like, here's an opportunity where they actually could have did something cool, but instead they don't. He takes out a tarantula, but it's not a real tarantula. It's an animatronic one. They went to their local Party City, or, you know, whatever party favor store that sells Halloween, or they might have been, maybe they were saving this since Halloween. How long has Rowan been doing this? Has he been doing it since Halloween? He takes this thing out of the cage. It's the fakest looking thing you've ever seen. It's moving, and they all go running. And you've got Byron Saxton on commentary going, I think it's alive. Okay, you know, people I saw in the comments on YouTube were picking on old Byron, but, you know, he's trying to sell it, you know, but, like, they couldn't have gotten a real spider. Like if you were gonna do that spot, wouldn't you make it in your power? Like, be proud of your work, man. Like a fake spider, like a fake animatronic spider. Like, you could say at least they made it animatronic. They could have just went for a plush toy or something that doesn't even move. But I'm like, man, you know, they got the camera in on that nice and tight. You saw how fake that was. I mean, wouldn't it be interesting if he had like a Black Widow or an actual tarantula in there? Or, you know, like just a bunch of spiders, like something crazy. Like, at least you could like recall, like that you could understand, you know. But, like, they built this up for so long. Like, this is what I always say in WWE. Not like this is something that everyone was looking forward to. But this is something that they actually stuck with for a while. Now, it obviously wasn't going anywhere, but it's kind of like the Edge Orton storyline. They don't have a reason, so they're just basically buying time until they could come up with one. And this is the months of payoff. This is what you get. This is why I always say to you guys in these videos, don't get your hopes up for anything, because you're going to wind up with stuff of this caliber. Total, absolute garbage. Shayna Baszler defeated Kairi Sane after Asuka was too injured to get involved. Baszler beats her with the rear naked choke and a sleeper hold. During the match, you have Cringey Lynch coming out. She's super cringy. She's not wearing the mean glasses. She's wearing these circular glasses that are all goofy and bedazzled. I thought she was supposed to be a badass, but now apparently she's just a clown. She puts on Jerry the King Lawler's crown. She gets up and Shayna Baszler's like running at her from the ring. Like, she's brave enough to run into the ring to bite her a few weeks ago. Here they're just kind of screaming at each other, like several yards apart from one another. They're like 50 feet apart. Becky's all the way up here. They're going at each other tooth and nail, and now they can't even be bothered to like get in the same vicinity as one another. And Becky is like repeating everything twice. She's going like, it doesn't matter who wins the chamber. It doesn't matter who wins the chamber. Then at the end, she's like, I don't have my wrestling boots, but I'll fight you. I don't have my wrestling boots, but I'll fight you. Like, it was almost like an automated machine. It was almost like her record was scratched, when it was skipping. She kept repeating the same lines. I'm like, Becky, do you notice what you're doing there? Like, this is supposed to be the revolutionary character. This is like, WWE, we're gonna build WWE around you. This is who main evented WrestleMania last year. And you listen to these promo skills, and you absolutely know that they're not gonna put this in the main event. They might kick the show off with this. Watch them actually kick. Wouldn't that be hilarious if they actually kicked the show off at like Becky and Baszler? And why does it seem like this match is more important than the Rhea Ripley and Charlotte stuff? Does it seem that way to you? Does it seem like they're putting more effort into Baszler, even though Charlotte is the one who won the Royal Rumble? I don't know, but all I could say is, I don't have my wrestling boots, but I'll fight you. I don't have my wrestling boots, but I'll fight you. Like, oh my God, like, talk about cringy. Talk about making it your best effort, like, or your worst effort, to make someone cringe depending on your perspective. Then we get Humberto Carrillo and Rey Mysterio defeating Andrade and Garza. Andrade, of course, eats the pin. Gotta have your champions get pinned, of course. This is just, lazy. Andrade comes back to absolutely no fanfare at all. They just straight up beat him. That's the end of that. They don't, even say, oh, we got our U.S. champion back. And, it's basically like, oh, well, this guy just got, we obviously know that at the Chamber, probably going to have Carrillo, win the U.S. championship. Or so they're going to get this belt off him the first opportunity that they get. Because Andrade, obviously, they're gonna, this is the guy's, first night back, on regular television. Because sometimes, Saudi Arabia could be, an alternate universe, I guess, kind of like with the weird gauntlet match. He randomly gets put in there, but, here he just, thrown back in with, Garza. Garza and him don't even have time to get acquainted as a team. It's no, he's just booked in the match. And then let's just finish things up, because obviously I'm sure this is what most people probably want me to talk about. And that's the Orton segment with Beth Phoenix. Okay, so Beth comes out, she barely says anything, Orton interrupts. And Orton finally gives his explanation for doing what he did. And, this is basically what he said. He said, he saw that, Edge, after he retired, he was there taking care of the kids and everything. And when he was finally cleared to come back to compete, he knew that, he was going to be leaving the kids, leaving Beth Phoenix, and he'd, come back to the ring, and he would, and he would be obsessed with competing full time. So we pretty much got the confirmation, I guess, right there, that Edge will eventually be full time whenever he gets the hell back. I still don't understand this. After the massive reaction, this is what they do. Oh, let's just have him wait. So what does Orton say? He says that, so what he did is he wanted to put him in a wheelchair to keep him at home. Now, okay, this explanation, I'll say, like, there's, a little bit, like, too much thought required for it. Like, I get what he was trying to say, but, like, once again, I just felt like, when villains in wrestling, when heels would explain themselves, it would come out a bit more clear. And you've got like, Orton delivered this pretty well. Orton was fired up. He seemed, was looking at his facial expressions. Everything was done well. Like, Orton, I remember, like, back in the day, like, Orton wasn't, like, the best on the mic. Now he's, like, one of the best because there's not a lot of competition. He makes all these guys look like amateurs. So Orton's basically in there, and, he's giving this explanation. And for them, like, obviously not knowing what the explanation was going to be, I guess this was pretty good. But here's the question I have. Why is Orton, why did he choose the concerto to put Edge in a wheelchair? I guess because it kind of, like, affects the upper part of his spine. But why did he do worse to Matt Hardy? Hitting him, and first of all, Matt Hardy came back from the first concerto. I don't know if this is supposed to be because Edge just came back, but wouldn't he have more time to recover? I don't know if they're doing like he's supposed to be re-injured type of angle. I don't know. There's just too many inconsistencies. And they should have just done this after the second week if this is what they were going to do. And plus, like, this explanation, like, that's the best thing that they could come up with. I mean, I guess it's decent. It does make sense when you kind of think about it. I don't know. I'm just thinking that they could do better. But it's okay. It's not terrible. It's not horrible. And this is somebody coming from somebody that was knocking it for weeks, saying that they didn't have a reason. They just came up with this probably moments before the show. That they probably had like a bunch of stuff that they were probably deciding on. They probably, let's just go with this one. That's the one that their coffee spilt on, and that's the one that they went with. They're like, whatever the coffee ring is on, like, that's probably what they did. They probably had a few different scripts. They probably put coffee cups down on each script. Whichever had the darkest coffee ring, that's the one they went with. And this one had the darkest coffee ring, so they picked this one up, and that's the one they went with. And it was all right. Obviously, the best part was at the end. Beth slaps Orton. Orton tries to regain his composure. Then she kicks him in the gut, and he gives her the RKO. This is like the first time in a long time that we didn't see like an accidental attack. Isn't it funny though, like, that the last time that they had like a girl get attacked, like, and it wasn't like an accident, was actually involving Orton, I believe. And that was Orton and Nia Jax at the Rumble last year. So, like, Orton is just, like, the designated woman beater, I guess. Like, I don't know, like, but I'm just saying, like, how this looks that no other, unless maybe it's a positive thing, and it's like, they trust Orton the most, because he's never really injured anybody, so then maybe they consider him to be the safest person to work with, especially when it comes to one of the girls taking his spot. I guess that's why. I mean, so that was it. And, I gotta say, if next week they don't come back and have Edge, exact vengeance on Beth, I just have to say, like, guys, this build, I don't know if I can continue watching these Raws leading up to WrestleMania. I'm just saying, because this is like their main focal point for the show. And, I guess you could say that they're doing a bit more with this. Like, there is a story going on here, but it's being told awfully than there is with Drew McIntyre and Brock, when that really shouldn't be the case. Like, the world title match should be the most interesting story, but that's not the case. So, but Orton is there, but, like, Edge could help tell this story. Like, Edge is a great promo guy, and I know we'll probably get Edge, for the month of WrestleMania. He's probably going to be back the next couple of weeks, but I mean, man, I'd never seen this before, where they're taking a guy and removing him off TV for, like, nearly 2 months. Okay, maybe that's a bit exaggerated, like a month and a half. I mean, really? Like, after this guy comes back and gets one of the biggest reactions they haven't had in such a long time, that's their response? Well, I don't know, guys. But anyway, there's your review. Hope you all enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Click the bell so you get all the notifications when I post all my new videos. And guys, thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.